Welcome to Project Conway, named after the Conway engine, a bunch of hack virgins who have come together to solve problem 1A. As a reminder, problem 1A is how to summarise the data for leadership, automate the integration of schedules. Additionally, we come across a number of insights we'd like to call out as additional problems. We're just showing off really. Data quality is a massive issue that needs to be resolved, which we'll also address very quickly, and we'll also talk about how we need to look at schedule over a period of time and trends. Looking at one point in time is not as useful as it should be, and we'll explain. Now, the first thing we need to address here is the data manipulation. The current as-is process is both Rolls-Royce and the supplier using P6. The supplier needs to move the P6 as a file in .xer. This is then uploaded by the Rolls-Royce planner, which is time-consuming and error-prone. Also, the data we're looking at is historic and not current. This is also difficult to view data directly from P6, so not the view that we'd like to be using. So, what did we have to do with the data to be able to use it? We took the .xer file and we used P6. Fortunately, we had P6 on board, so once we implemented and took that data into P6, we were able to extract it and get a richer feel of the data and put that into Excel. The Excel data contained monthly snapshots, so we're not looking at a point in time, but we're able to look at trending from our Excel. We then ingested that into Power BI. Right, so the future solution we would recommend would not be to use data manipulation like this. We'd recommend that both Rolls-Royce and the supplier integrate their P6 directly into Power BI. Why? Well, there's no data wrangling. You're taking the data directly from its native source. The data you'll be reporting will be current and up to date. And it would also enable data sharing between Rolls-Royce and its collaborations. This would mean a better way of working and better behaviours. But there are some big watch-outs with this, which are watch-outs all the same. Common data standards, common data terms, strong data quality adherence is required to make this work. So, let us deal with the personas that we're trying to deal with. First of all is our project leader. He's extremely stressed and challenged. He hasn't had much time. He needs to see the exact summary in a visual way that he can relate to. He doesn't have time to dig through data. The approach that we've taken is using the slicing data on a monthly basis. We can look at trending, and we use visualization and Power BI. This is the first month, which is the baseline data, as you can see, month 0. You can see from here, you can see the start date, the finish date, and various SPI and CPI calculations, and cost. As we move on through the data, slicing on, we could do it monthly, but at month 6 is quite a key month for this project, as we can see from the data. We can see that the baseline has changed from its original baseline. Was this a rebaselining of the project? Was this a change control that was approved? We can't see that in the actual schedule itself. We also notice at this point that the end date has slipped. Yep, the end date of this project slipped out in month 6. We can also see some strange things happening with the actual data, where actuals have been claimed a month in the past. So May's data has been claimed in April, retrospectively. Strange things, bad planning, bad timing, bad processes. Don't really know, we need to investigate. If we look at the final month, and this is where SPI and CPI come into real effect, we can see SPI appears artificially inflated and needs to be investigated, and CPI is 35% over budget. Again, data quality is inhibiting the ability to really dig into the data. It demonstrates process and project control issues. So, now let's look about our planner. Automatically integrating information is something we've already addressed, but he needs to be able to create summary plans for senior leaders that don't need to look at every line, but communicate key elements. We'll come on to this in a minute. We just want to address one of those other issues that we called out, which is data quality. Of course, you're building the foundations on sand. Okay, these are the plan killers that we need to be aware of, and we need to be strong and drive the accountabilities behind data quality. Minimum amount of constraints, if any. Don't have any broken logic in the plans. That's a plan killer. Don't have poor metadata, because then you can't use your reporting tools and integrate the information. Here's some references to best practice that everybody should be aware of. Okay. Also, management of the baseline. Make sure there's a strong change control process in place. It's not just about data, it's process and data. Okay, in a nutshell, what are our recommendations? Complete the proof of concept using Power BI that we've already started. Okay. Review the project schedule against best practice and standards. Even make these standards contractual. Automate the data collection process as we already called out. Focus on the data changes from 1 month to another. Don't just show data as it is at one point in time. Again, think about how we can bring human data into this. Yeah, what's the because this is only one part of the problem, is the project's data. Think about human-centric data too. Okay, what are the questions from the judges? Well, how could you automate? We've already given you a highlight of that, but we could use Python to convert and clean the data. And we could pull the data into Panda for cleaning to use the CSV file, and for report data to use this as a visualization. Really quick and really clever, just need some coding. How are you using the views of data of different personas? Well, we've already talked about the persona of the leader. We'll come on to the planner just at the end here. Why Power BI and not P6? Great question. P6 is extremely expensive. Power BI is really easy to use. There's lots of skills with Power BI.